Hi there, I'm Lebogang and welcome to Mzansibizness. In today's video, I'll be talking about South Africa's largest brewing company, South African Breweries Limited, or SAB. I'll also be talking about Africa's biggest beer brand, Castle Lager. And whoa, before you black label lovers fight me, black label is not even from South Africa. It's just widely consumed here, and SAB have a license to produce it. But I'll talk about that later in the video. SAB is a massive company with operations in over 40 countries, and besides making beer, SAB would also become the largest Coca-Cola bottler and would even own a stake in clothing company, Edgars. Who would have thought? And man, South Africans love to drink. We buy more beer than vegetables, so of course I had to cover this company. So, without further ado, let's jump in. The story of SAB begins with the man, the legend, Charles Claas. He was born in Kent, England, and this guy and his wife were master brewers. Soon, Charles found himself in India brewing beer for British troops. He kept on hearing about the gold rush in South Africa and figured there would be more opportunities there. Although Charles had strong brewing skills, he was short of capital. He found funding from two early investors, H.B. Marshall and Jim Walsh. They operated a bus service between Ladysmith and Barberton, another gold mining town, but one that never really made it. He got the funding he needed, and sometime in the mid-1880s, Castle Brewery was formed, with Charles' high-quality Castle Lager as its flagship beer. Charles Claas would sell his beer at 8 locations in Marshallstown and Johannesburg. Castle Lager became an instant hit amongst miners. It even started winning brewing awards at the Witwatersrand agricultural show, and now everyone wanted a taste. This gave Charles the ability to dictate price, and Castle Lager became the premium beer in the northern parts of South Africa. Meanwhile, at the same time, in Natal, a man named Frederick Mead, who had his own brewery, the Natal Brewery Syndicate, realized that the Witwatersrand was the most important market in the country, and he was already a fan of the Castle Lager beer. So, in 1892, with the help of international investors, he purchased Castle Brewery from Charles Claas and formed a new company called South African Union Breweries. In 1895, the name was changed from South African Union Breweries to South African Breweries Limited. 1897, it becomes the first industrial company to list on the JSE, and the following year, it lists on the London Stock Exchange. 1910, SAB opened up a brewery in Rhodesia, which is modern-day Zimbabwe, and in 1925, expanded into other beverages after purchasing a large share in Schweppes soft drinks. 1950, SAB relocated its headquarters from London to South Africa, and in 1951, SAB's Rhodesian Breweries invested in a new brewery in Zambia. 1955, they purchased the Olson's Cape Breweries and Chandler's Union Breweries. This was one of the oldest breweries in the country at the time and was known for making Lion Lager. This enabled the company to garner over 90% of the South African beer market. 1964, SAB obtained the right to brew Guinness in South Africa, becoming the first company outside Ireland to be granted this license. 1965, it obtains a 40-year license to produce Amstel Lager in South Africa, and in 1966, acquired the iconic license to produce Colin Black Label. They would go on to do some interesting marketing campaigns to attract consumers, and it was working. 1969, the company diversifies even further with the launch of Southern Sun Hotels, and in 1973, SAB opened up breweries in Botswana and Angola, as well as another one in Swaziland in 1976. By 1978, the Colin Black Label brand had almost 30% market share of the beer market in South Africa, but things started going downhill from there. During the 80s, it was starting to lose market share every year, to the point of only owning 5% market share. The mainstream market was dominated by Castle Lager and Lion Lager. 1981, they opened up a brewery in Lesotho, and during the 80s, the SAB group purchased numerous unrelated operations, including OK Bazaars, Associated Furniture Company, Shoe Corp, and even purchased a stake in Edgars Fashion Group. They would eventually sell all their stakes in these companies as the years went by to be able to focus on core business. Something important is also happening at that time. 1986, Coca-Cola announced it's selling its South African bottling plants to a company known as Amalgamated Beverage Industries, or ABI. SAB would already have a stake in this company, and I'm honestly not sure when they first acquired an interest in ABI. But ABI at the time were already one of the biggest Coca-Cola bottlers in South Africa, and SAB were now increasing its stake in it to have a bigger market share in the soft drinks market. 1992, Casalaga sponsored the South African national football team, Bafana Bafana, an iconic partnership that is still running to this day. That same year, SAB brand Lion Lager becomes the official sponsor on the Springboks jersey. It was the sponsor until 1996, which is important because the Springboks would win the 1995 Rugby World Cup, which was also hosted in South Africa. So that must have been a massive boost for the SAB brand. 1994, SAB launched Castle Light, my favorite beer in the whole universe. Yo, if anyone at SAB or Castle ever watches this video, please man, hook the boy up with a young 12-pack nya. But anyway, by 1996, Carling Black Label had been honored twice at the World's Best Bottled Lager Awards and would start to regain some of its market share. And as you all know, Zamalek would later to go on and win countless more awards, and today this is no doubt South Africa's favorite beer. And guys, before Betway Premiership, Absa Premiership, and DStv Premiership, it was actually the Castle Lager Premiership from 1996 until 2007. 1997, SAB subsidiary, ABI, which I spoke about earlier, purchased another Coca-Cola bottler, Sun Crush, thereby doubling market share to approximately 60% in the South African soft drinks market. At that point, ABI is no doubt the largest Coca-Cola bottler in South Africa. Also in 1997, Casalago would become an official sponsor of the South African national rugby team as well as the South African national cricket team. During the 90s, SAB would also expand its operations by acquiring breweries in Hungary, China, Romania, Poland, Slovakia, Russia, and the Czech Republic. In 2000, SAB purchased Narang Breweries in India, and Casalaga is named World's Best Bottled Lager at the International Brewing Industry Awards. 2001, SAB announced that it has paid $19 million to Coca-Cola Co. for a 45% controlling stake in Coca-Cola Bottling Luanda in Angola, further expanding its Coca-Cola bottling operations. It also becomes the first international brewing company to enter Central America through the acquisitions of breweries in Honduras and El Salvador. 2002, SAB do this huge deal and acquire US company, Miller Brewing Company, which had the Miller beer as its flagship beer, but also had other brands under it. This made it one of the leading international breweries, and the name also gets changed to SAB Miller. SAB also launched Brutal Fruit that year in a bid to attract female consumers. By 2004, SAB had acquired 100% of Amalgamated Beverage Industries, ABI, but that year they would experience some serious competition for the first time. A company known as Brand House was established through a joint venture between Diageo, Heineken, and Namibian Breweries. Brand House started marketing, selling, and distributing some of the world's top premium brands such as Heineken and Windhoek. 2007, the 40-year agreement between SAB Miller and Heineken NV Holdings, which allowed SAB to brew and distribute Amstel Lager in South Africa, comes to an end, further heating up the competition. SAB would also launch Hansa Gold that year, but say it's not meant to be a replacement for Amstel Lager. 2008, SAB added popular Dutch beer Grausch to its beer portfolio after acquiring Dutch brewery Royal Grausch. They also do this joint venture with Molson Coors to combine their operations in the United States, forming the company Miller Coors in the US. From 2011, they do this whole Castle Light Unlocks thing, which is a musical festival organized by Castle Light, which over the years brought in many international megastars like Drake, Kanye West, J. Cole, Travis Scott, and many more. 2013, SAB launched Flying Fish, its first locally produced premium flavored beer, and Football Club FC Barcelona announced a sponsorship with Castle Lager. 2014, they do this chocolate milk stout. I couldn't find out when the original milk stout, or as it's affectionately known, Nkunzi Emnyama, was first released though. 2014, the Coca-Cola Company, SAB Miller, and a company known as GFI agreed to combine their Coca-Cola bottling operations in Southern and Eastern Africa thus forming Coca-Cola Beverages Africa. 2016, something huge happens. Liquor heavyweights Anheuser-Busch InBev, or AB InBev, acquire SAB Miller for £69 billion. And if I have to convert that to rands, my friends, we're looking at a crazy figure that is over R1 trillion. AB InBev is a huge company. It had brands like Stella Artois, Budweiser, Beck's, Corona, and many more under it. As part of the deal, SAB would sell its stake in Miller Coors back to Molson Coors for about $12 billion, and that would be why SAB don't sell Miller anymore. AB InBev would also sell SAB's stake in Coca-Cola's bottling plants back to Coca-Cola in a $3 billion deal. 2017, SAB introduced Castle Free, South Africa's first non-alcoholic beer. 2018, SAB's Brutal Fruit Spritzer brand enters the market, and 2019, SAB moved beyond beer by venturing into gin and tonic with Black Crown, an unapologetic African gin and tonic. 2019, let's talk about acquiring the Smirnoff ready-to-drink range products from global drinks giant Diageo, but I'm not sure if this deal went through because SAB doesn't have any Smirnoff products listed on its website. 2020, Flying Fish branches out into fashion, partnering with local fashion brand Amen. And 2021, Castle Lager announced the introduction of Castle Double Malt. 2022, SAB launched a new modern logo and also branched out into perfumes under its Brutal Fruit brand with the introduction of You Belong, a perfume inspired by the Brutal Fruit drink. And yeah, that's pretty much the rise of SAB. This company is also very important to the South African economy, apart from paying billions in taxes every year. It also actively invests in the South African economy. It sources more than 90% of its raw materials locally and employs over 5,000 people in South Africa, as well as supporting over 100,000 jobs in the value chain. And as for Castle Lager, it is one beer that has stood the ultimate test of time. I mean, it's been around for over 125 years, and to this day remains Africa's biggest and most valuable beer brand. Alright, that's all for today. If you like content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Let us know which topics to cover next. As always, I'm Lebogang. This is Mzansi Business. Glad you could join us. I'm out. Peace.